team, Coach Kelsey here to talk about a little bit of the hip health and mobility. So one of my favorite things, I think there's endless stuff that you can do for your hips. I encourage you to reach out if you want some more after this, but this is just a good basis to start with. So we're going to go through the stretches of all the surrounding muscles because if we can lengthen and open up those, then your hips are in turn going to feel better. I also want to explain just briefly why hip mobility and health is so important. If you have tight hips, you can't get yourself into correct positions, and as humans, we are supposed to be able to move well through our hips, and the way we sit and walk and stand and abuse them, we can't keep up with it unless we decide to take care of them. So if your hips are stopping you from getting in the right positions, you're doing yourself a big disservice there, because if your hips are tight, you can't be as powerful. You're holding yourself back as an athlete. You're creating further conditions for yourself, and just for lack of babbling on forever, feel free to reach out to me if you want to talk more about it. But the hips are also the middle ground of your entire body. So if these are tight, then you do have a bit of a tug-of-war going on with everything else surrounding that. And that's not what you want to deal with. So if you can kind of loosen something in the middle, then it may ease the tension up or down. For me personally, opening my hips up creates a lot less tension on my back. So that's my main drive for doing them, but everyone's going to be different. So without further ado, we'll just kind of go through the stretches. I'm not going to hold them forever, so feel free to pause the video or just get them in your head and hold them for at least 2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes if you can. And these kinds of stretches are just meant to relax and plop into. Your body's not necessarily going to love them. If they do, that's great, but I encourage you to just relax and think of your body falling into positions, not you putting it somewhere where it feels awful and it's not supposed to be there. Just let time take care of that. So 90-90 is the first one. I'm not going to go through the full-blown stretch. I just wrote it on there to encourage you to look at our 90-90 stretch video on our YouTube channel. I go through the whole entire thing, but essentially we do it to open this hip, open the front of this hip, we turn again, we're working on the back side of this hip, the front side of this hip, a mobility you really want to have. That's the directions you want to be able to move your legs. So kind of going off of that, the front way here is stretching your glute out. So you can do that without doing a 90-90 stretch. You can do a pigeon stretch on the ground with that back leg swooping behind you. I'm going to square up the body here, and I'm going to lean myself over until I'm feeling a good stretch through my glute. So we are targeting opening the glutes here. I can also do this if this is not an achievable stretch or it's just not feeling right and I don't feel it in my glute where we want you to. Feel free to go ahead and take it to the ground like this. Prop the foot up there on the knee, and then draw the other foot into you. And I can kind of scoot my bottom around. I like to kind of move back and forth to find the good spot where I actually feel a stretch. You can lean against a wall and do it. You can also, I'm going to swivel around really quick. Put a foot against the wall. Scoot myself as close as I can there. And then grab that foot again on my knee, and same deal. Feeling the stretch right through here. Nice, chill, 2 to 5 minute. Last but not least, you can take a seat. Switch my legs up here. Put a foot on top of the knee. Here I am, same shape, same stretch through my glute. I'm being conscious of my knee here, and I'm just gonna lean forward until I feel a stretch. So any of the above for 2 to 5 minutes, good ways to stretch out the glute there, which is attached to the hip. Then we're going into the hamstrings. So we'll just go basic hamstring stretch here. I'm gonna kneel on a knee, stick a leg out, and I'm gonna lean myself forward until I feel the stretch. I'm chilling out and slowly over time letting my body drop more and more. If this bugs the knee, grab a band. We've got bands. Band of some sort, lay on the ground, create the same thing for yourself. So go ahead and hook that band around the foot and lie back. I like this way too because I can get the same stretch over time. The arms kind of do the work to make the stretch happen. There's a hamstring stretch for you. Then we've got hip flexors. So this one, I'm gonna go ahead and kneel again for this one. Hopefully you guys are okay. Pillow under the knee or anything if you need at any time. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and start by having this front leg at like a 90-degree angle-ish. I'm gonna try to square up my hips, and then I'm going to squeeze my cheek in the back here and tilt my pretend belt buckle up towards my body, okay? So this one, I need it a lot and it's not my favorite to do, so just play a game with yourself. Say I'm gonna do it every night for 2 minutes, and before long, hopefully you'll be doing longer or it won't suck as much for you. If this is not, you're kind of losing the feeling here, even if you're squeezing the glute and trying to tilt the hips and you don't quite feel the stretch here, go ahead and try and push further into that stretch. But you want to try to be tilting the pelvis the same time because we're really trying to open this right here. This is a hip flexor stretch. Now we're going to go into a quad stretch. So if you've seen our knee mobility video, Coach Steve touches on why why tight quads will cause knee pain. So same deal, tight quads will cause hip pain. This wraps all the way around here, can cause low back pain, and we as humans use our quads all the time. So couple quad stretches. You can lie down, tuck the foot by your side here, and just lean back until you feel a stretch. You can lie all the way back if you like. Usually the deciding factor on this one is if people like their ankle hanging out back there or not. If you are a flexible person and it's not bothering your ankles, go ahead and do them both at the same time and take a lean or a lie. This can also be done against the wall as maybe has popped up in some of our other mobility videos. So knee comes against the wall here, and then I'm going to come right up. And just a reminder, Coach Steve goes through some other means of quad stretching if these aren't working. So here we go. I'm not necessarily squeezing my glute back there anymore. I'm just kind of hanging out and trying to get a good stretch through here. Most of the times on that one, my knee is the deciding factor of how long I can hold it, but again, at least 2 minutes to make it worth it. Groin and adductors, so not exactly a fun one to stretch, but important. So I'll start that one with a half frog. So I'm going to target the inside here now, and we're all going to be different here. So I'm just going to start with a half frog, one leg straight, kneeling on one knee. I have most of my weight on top of this leg, and I'm just kind of thinking of letting this hip fall to the ground over time. If I'm not quite feeling a stretch there, you can go ahead and either try to move this kneeling knee out, or maybe you're flexible enough to double up. And we're just going to call out a frog stretch. And you're just going to hang out right here. So you can go to the elbows, etc. If you're watching this and you are thinking, heck no. If you're more at a butterfly level, completely fine. This is a great one too. Try to keep the chest up, pull the knees towards the ground. Again, we want to feel it right here though. So we're looking for a way to create that stretch. Last but not least, if you do have a band, and this is the one that's going to work for you, feel free to set yourself up the same way as the hamstring one and let the leg fall to the side. From here, I can move it up or down, whatever's going to kind of help me find where I'm getting a stretch, and then just hang out and breathe. Groin and adductors. Almost there, guys. Hip opener circle. So this is more of an active mobility for you to do. it is to, for lack of better terms, get the gunk moving around and out of your hips, because you undoubtedly have a lot of fluid around there. So this is the game of this one. You're just gonna lie down on your back. Try to keep the hips square with the ground and flat on the ground here. Arms can go wherever you desire. I'm gonna pick a leg, I'm gonna lift it straight up as far as it's willing to go. Let it fall out to the side as far as it's willing to go while I keep this hip on the ground. Circle around. Up, out, circle around. I would suggest about sets of 6 to 10 and getting like 2 or 3 sets of that. It's kind of when you're burnt out on the one hip, go ahead and switch it up, go to the other side. We get asked a lot if popping and cracking is normal. Yes, 100%. It's not a bad thing. We want the hips to start moving. And the last one today, squat hold. So whatever you've got in this range, I'm talking as simple as get your feet in a good squat position about hip width apart, staying back on the heels, push the knees out, just squat down and hang out. So this position is pretty dependent on not just hip mobility, but ankle mobility as well. So if it is difficult for you to get down there, or you only get to about here, feel free to try to grab something. I don't really have like a good thing to grab right now, but you can position yourself where you can hang on to something and then sit your weight back, sit the bottom back, because that's how you want to start all your squats, and then come down as much as you can. Wherever your body stops, try to chill out and relax down there. This one, there's no harm in kind of moving around. Move the knees in and out. We do not want pain though. So feel free to move directions that are good. Very cool to try to move the knees out, but no pain. All right, so don't forget to check out the 90-90 video if you are really looking for something to kind of up your game or get past some hip issues you've been dealing with. And if you have any questions, reach out to us. Good job, guys.